Hey guys, John P here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some Omega Speedmaster watches and how over the last year, especially, the prices have tanked. Yes, that's right. The Omega Speedmaster collector's market seems to be in a pretty low point, especially compared with the highs. Now, this is not all doom and gloom because if you're one of the collectors that has been sitting on the sidelines waiting perhaps for the prices to come down in the gray market or in the collector's market for some of these Omega Speedmasters, now is a phenomenal time because some of these once highly coveted and desirable premium fetching watches in terms of sales price are now selling for, or at least listed for, about half of where they were at their peak. So make sure to stick through to this video so that you can also take advantage of the current market status. Hey guys, if you haven't signed up for my email list yet, please consider doing so. Link in the description below. As you know, since selling my shares in Delray Watch, I've been working on other things, not yet ready to announce them, but if you would like to be the first to know, please make sure to go ahead and just fill out a couple details about your email address, things like that, so that I can stay in communication directly with you and you will be the first to know on the interesting things that I'm working on. So please consider checking that out. Link in the description below. The first watch that has really come down in price from the Omega Speedmaster collections is the Tintin. Now, if you're not familiar, the Tintin is a watch model that has come out in the last 10 years, but it was ultra desirable because for a couple of reasons. One, people liked that it was truly in limited supply, which makes a coveted watch or any other item that is desirable, right? Limited supply compared to how many people want it. But the Tintin was kind of marked after this cartoon, and it had a bit of an outer space theme to a particular episode, and that's where the Tintin comes in. Now, the Tintin was going for about 22,000 US dollars. We've had them at Delray Watch when I was at Delray Watch, and they would go for about 22,000, sometimes 20,000. There was some wiggle room there, especially as time went on from the market peak. But now you can find them no problem for $10,000, and that is truly a great deal compared to the high. Now that takes us into a watch that I'm actually pretty surprised, but not entirely, that the prices have come down considerably, about half or even more. This is the Snoopy pictured here, the Omega Speedmaster Snoopy with the blue and white colorway with the action on the back. Now these were going for about 30,000 US dollars. Now you can pick one up for no problem, 15,000 US dollars. That's half price where I come from, and that's a good deal. It's a truly cool and unique watch that I think if you've been sitting on the sidelines, I cannot fathom this watch getting any lower in price. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, this takes us into a collection that is from the late 90s, early 2000s. This is going to be the Missions series. Now, Omega had released a Speedmaster Professional collection lineup of the Mission series that would come in two different ways. They had an entire collection in kind of like a Halliburton case, which had all of the missions for the space missions from NASA, essentially. The ones that failed, the ones succeed, you get it. They had all the missions at the time in this series. Go figure, that's the name. But you could also buy them individually, which I personally also had one of these in my collection in the past. And they would come in this kind of like spacesuit-esque box with, you know, this kind of design. There'll be a picture here so you can get the idea. And some of these watches were going for $20,000, just depending on the rarity. But certainly the average was about $10,000. Now you can pick some up as cheap or as low priced out there in the market for about $5,600 US dollars. So for a truly not making it any more limited supply watch, I think this is a phenomenal deal. So if you want something kind of unique and quirky, but still has that true to not only form and function, but also aesthetic Speedmaster without giving up too much besides the 9 o'clock emblem, then go for a Mission series. They're a pretty good deal right now. Now this one takes us into the Speedmaster Japan Racing. I can truly not believe at some of the prices here. These were going for $20,000 all day out there on the market. Of course, there's condition, provenance, box papers, you get it. But let's just throw out the number. About $20,000, a good condition one, would cost you maybe 2.5 years ago. Now they're out there, tons of them being sold. Of course, a lot of them coming from Japan, go figure, but for about 9,000 US dollars. 9,000 US dollars for this watch, I think, and this is becoming a recurring theme in this episode, this is a phenomenal deal. They're not making any more of these. Now is a good time to buy this watch. Could the prices come down a little bit? Sure, but there's a very limited supply of these things. They're not pumping and dumping them out like Omega does with their current catalog. This is back catalog, limited place where these were sold in Japan. Get one now while you can. That takes us into the Omega Speedmaster 321, the reboot, which they came out with a handful of years ago using actual Omega Speedmaster 321 movements, which are legendary, classic, and true to the original watch. Now, we sold some of these when they came out at Delray Watch for about $25,000, $24,000. The retail was about $14,400 or $15,000, just depending on when you bought the watch. Now these watches are out there for sale, $16,000 US dollars, just a little bit above retail or in that ballpark, depending on where you live, calculate taxes, all of that. So 321 Speedmaster reboot, I think, once again, great deal. This is kind of comical how much these watches have dropped in price. Now, lastly, let's just touch on the classic Omega Speedmaster Professional that's in the current Omega catalog and lineup, the latest iteration of the classic Moonwatch, truly Omega's bread and butter. The Speedmaster Professional retails currently on a bracelet for $7,000 US dollars. You can find one gray market for about $5,000, and this is a good deal as well. When the Speedmaster Pro, the recent version, came out, these were selling for about retail or a little bit more in the gray market out there in the marketplace, depending where you bought it. Now, significantly under retail for a classic, timeless watch with modern specs. I think that's a no-brainer, especially if you've been on the fence. I've owned many Omega watches in the past, a big advocate of the brand, a big fan of the brand. If you watch this channel, you know this, but the Speedmaster just has, I think, a special place in many people's collecting hearts and journeys that, depending what you want, your wear style, what you like, how you like to wear it, the Speedmaster, over the years, over the back catalog, has something for you. So considering these prices, how much they've come down, I think now is a great time to get in. I certainly wouldn't sell your Speedmaster, especially if you bought it in the last couple years. Keep it, hold on to it. Trust me, you'll thank me later. But now is a great time to get into a Speedmaster. So I would urge you, or at least recommend, if you've been on the fence, consider it now. I can't see the market on these getting any lower. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to see it and hear it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate it. You can find me on Instagram, The Real John P. And if you've noticed, or maybe not, I've been posting a lot less since selling my stake in Delray Watch. My day-to-day, kind of my schedule has changed a lot, right? I'm not going to the office. I'm not trading watches per se. I'm still kind of involved in other ways from a technological basis that I still have some interest in Delray Watch. But nonetheless, I've been really just relaxing. I bought a Defender. I've been driving through the mountains in Utah. I've been going through the deserts in Nevada. I've been just kind of doing all these rugged outdoor things with this Defender, really trying to push it to the limits. And actually, I pushed it so hard in the desert in Nevada at the record heats, 120 degrees, that it actually blew out the air conditioner. So it's in for repair. But basically, I've been spending a lot of time like that, just having fun, relaxing, and recalibrating for the next steps in my journey. So if you want to stick with me and see what I'm up to in the future, there'll be a link in the description below where you can sign up for my newsletter, which at this point isn't really going to be a newsletter, but I'll be making sure to keep you updated of things that I'm working on in the future, especially when it's related to the watch industry. And we'll see you around, guys. We'll see you next time. You've been chatting with John P.